so very to be here, aka Aurora, go to their prize. I actually did put a face on today, and I know it kind of clashes with that, but just go with it. So anyway, you may notice that my surroundings may be changing off and on over the next little while because I am trying to figure out how to best do this setup, if you know what I mean. So I will be changing some things because I'm hoping to rework in some sort of home studio. We will see. Fingers crossed. So anyway, welcome to today's discussion bowl. Today's discussion bowl is ghosts and stuff. So I'll be talking about ghosts. Because what else do you talk about when you talk about ghosts? Alright, so my first point of business is to tackle the religious aspect of ghosts. Most people are under the impression that Christians do not believe in the supernatural or the paranormal. Now, I'm not saying everybody, so don't start throwing hate comments or anything. But from what I've heard from people that I've talked to, most people have always been surprised when I say that I am a Christian and I believe in the supernatural and the paranormal. Now, I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense for Christians to believe in ghosts and demons and stuff, right? I mean, it makes sense to me. So, basically, my belief for ghosts, and this video is going to be talking about what I believe in terms of ghosts and the paranormal. I believe that on the show The Ghost Hunters, I know it's probably like the most credible show in the world, but they have two classifications of ghosts, which is intelligent and residual. And I agree with that, intelligent and residual. Intelligent hauntings with ghosts is basically they can interact with you, and I would categorize this as demons and angels and all that stuff. Residual hauntings is like an imprinted memory that's playing on repeat. And this is where, when I mentioned last time when I had some interesting theories, this is my interesting theory on the paranormal. I believe that the way time works, and I'm not a scientist, so please don't take my word for this. This is just how my brain processes this information. I believe that time runs simultaneously. So as I'm waking up this morning, I'm doing this now while I'm watching this in the future. It's all happening at the same time. Now, these residual hauntings are pieces of time that somehow get stuck in these loops where they somehow break the invisible walls that are between these time slots, in between me waking up, in between me recording this, and in between me watching this in the future. That moment is somehow stuck in there and is breaking through these walls. And I think for a lot of more intelligent hauntings that people say, well, what about the dead people who come back to visit us, or all that stuff? That gets into territory where I don't really know. I can't give you an answer on what I think. Like, if I were to see, I don't know, my great-grandfather and they start talking to me, I don't know how I would perceive that. Like, I don't know if I would think it's an angel or a demon, or if it really actually is the ghost of my great-grandfather. I don't know when it comes to that. I don't have a formulated? I don't have an opinion on that. So, where was I? I totally threw myself off track. Anyway, but I think that sometimes our soul can create an energy that can imprint on time. Like, say we get really emotional in regards to something like the death of a loved one. We can charge that energy so much that it sticks in time. So maybe I'm here sitting in this chair, something really terrible happens, and I completely just break down and lose it. My soul gives off an energy that sticks in time, and then 100 years from now, the spot may change. I mean, the surroundings may change, but the spot still stays there, and say they build a new house over this house, and this is someone's bedroom, but my energy is imprinted, and so the person staying in this room will end up experiencing that moment that I imprinted on time. Is any of this making sense? Any of it? I don't know. That's my thoughts and opinions on ghosts and stuff. Whether I believe in psychics, I do believe that everyone is to some sort of degree psychic. Because I think we all have those moments where we're thinking something and then it happens. And then, of course, everyone experiences deja vu, unless you're that one strange person who's never experienced deja vu. Is that possible? But yeah, I think everyone is to some degree psychic. Whether communicating with ghosts or not, I don't know. Like mediums? I guess I won't say I discredit anyone who claims to be a medium. I would just find it very hard to believe. I'm fairly open-minded when it comes to the paranormal world. Which is probably why when I was talking about horror movies last week, supernatural-based movies, I find so hard to believe because I am so open-minded about it, and I do take in a lot of information from what I've learned. I used to do a lot of research on this as a kid, and so I watch these movies and I'm like, this doesn't compute or match up with what I've learned. Like, I know I'm going on a completely different tangent here, but I find this is relevant. A lot of movies, when they do ghost movies, they're not really doing ghost movies. They're doing poltergeist movies where the poltergeist has a physical form. Now, from the research that I've done, and please, if anyone is more of an expert on this than me, please correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've learned, poltergeists and ghosts are not the same thing. There are instances where the two overlap, but very rarely do you have them being the same thing. Ghosts can get to the point where they can become poltergeist. Basically, poltergeist is just the movement of an object by an unseen force. So basically, if I were to be holding my phone and then it just, I don't know, something were to pick it up and toss it over, that would be a poltergeist. But a ghost would basically be, I'm here and then I'm not. That would just be the physical form. Now, I won't get into like what they actually do. But that's the basic distinction. Poltergeists move stuff, ghosts show up. Only very rarely will they overlap. I used to, I think, know a few cases where that had happened, but it's been such a long time, I don't remember any of it. But yeah, so with a lot of these supernatural-based movies, they end up mixing that all together. And it's also very rare that a ghost, not a poltergeist, but a ghost physically harms someone. Very rarely. It all depends on the energy of that spirit or the malignity of the ghost or whatever. But you get what I mean. So poltergeist would be more likely to attack someone, I think, in that sense, than a ghost would. But Hollywood seems to kind of meld the two together, which it shouldn't. So yeah, we kind of just jumped all over the place. I'm sorry, I don't use scripts for these. I just kind of ramble. So anyway, but take a drink. That's basically my thoughts and opinions on ghosts and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I totally believe that there are ghosts out there. I mean, I've not had any paranormal experiences myself. I can talk about places I visited that are haunted, and I can talk about that. I'm going to talk about that, because we've only been going for 9 minutes, and I can probably easily go about 20. You guys ready for that? But, my experiences with visiting haunted places, I visited the USS Hornet. I've actually spent the night on the USS Hornet. That is supposed to be haunted, but I didn't find that out until after we had left. Although, I do remember when we were there, because we were there for a Girl Scout trip. There was a guy who was there who was telling ghost stories. And we didn't stay for all of it because it was late and we were young, and my mom, who was the troop leader at the time, was like, okay, guys, we gotta go to bed. I remember he was telling a story about how he was putting up a light and he was on a ladder, and he ended up falling off the ladder. I don't remember if something had pushed him, but he fell off the ladder, and then something like a bright light caught him and put him down. And he had fallen like 10 feet? I think it was 10 feet. But he fell a pretty good distance. And he said that if that thing hadn't caught him, he probably would have broken his back. In that case, I don't think it was a ghost. More like it was a guardian angel. Maybe. But yeah, we had a few experiences happened on that. My mom was one of the adults that was doing the parental watches. You know how, like, when there's a group of kids, usually parents will take a watch or something. She was waiting for her turn to go up and sit up for a watch. And the way that worked is there was like a break room, and it had a staircase that went down to the bunks where we were sleeping, and we were right at the bottom of the stairs. My mom's was directly in front of the stairs, and she said she had woken up like an hour before she was supposed to get up for her shift, and that whole time she heard footsteps going up and down the ladder, and she was like, goodness gracious, who's pacing like a maniac? And so eventually it came time for her to get up for her shift, and she goes up and she asks, hey, who's been walking up and down the stairs for the past hour? It's really annoying. And everyone's looking at her like, no one? You cray-cray. So that was my mom's experience. Then my sister's experience. She woke up in the middle of the night and looked over and saw, what was it? She saw like 2 or 3 guys fixing a light bulb. I don't know what kind of residual haunting that is. I guess they were really excited about changing that light bulb. But yeah, so my dad and I, who are like the paranormal experts of the family, because my dad also came along on the trip, we didn't experience anything, which made me super angry. And then, of course, my dad was in the sick bay because they always separate the dads from the families for these Girl Scouts events. And they put all the dads in the sick bay, which is supposed to be the most haunted part of the ship. And during the middle of the night, the ship is all weirdly set up, but you have like the sick bay, and then the closest bathroom is like all the way across the hangar deck and on the other side. And my dad had to get up and use the bathroom during the middle of the night, and he had to go from sick bay all the way across the hangar deck by himself to the bathroom. And in the hangar deck is a helicopter that is also supposed to be haunted, and you see like the ghosts of the men on the helicopter like fixing it or something. And he didn't experience anything either. And of course my dad was really mad because we found out that Ghost Hunters did an episode on the Hornet, so of course we were like super excited. And we watched it, and they started talking, the people who run the ship were like giving them a tour and saying telling them all about the haunted goings on. And there's a scene where they're in the sick bay and they're doing EVPs. An EVP is electronic voice phenomenon, for those of you who don't know. And one of the guys was sitting on the bed that my dad was sleeping in, and they caught a voice saying something. And my dad was like, great. That's where they put the dads. But yeah, my dad and I didn't experience anything, which was a huge bummer. But another place I visited several places. I went down to San Diego. I've been down to San Diego a few times. San Diego's really nice. I love San Diego. But I did a haunted tour with my sister. We did an old town tour for San Diego. And this is one of the only experience, one of the few experiences that I've had that was personal. We went to the Whaley House, which is now the most haunted house in America. And I remember going up the stairs. Like, the whole tour of it is really redonkulous. I don't know how they can call it the most haunted house in America. Because honestly, it is on one of the most busiest streets. Seriously. all the windows in the house are, like, open. Okay, not all the windows. Most of the windows in the house are open. And here's the house. Here's the sidewalk. Here's the street. And then right next to, like, literally, there's no fence. Right next to it is some sort of Cajun restaurant that plays really loud music. I don't understand how you can hope to get any sort of proof in that sort of setting. But regardless, so we go up the stairs. Oh man, look at all that. Look at all that craziness that just, wow. Anyway, but we went up the stairs, and there's this one room that the family, when they were living there, had converted into a theater. And as soon as I entered the room, I felt this huge pressure on my forehead. Like somebody had taken like some sort of cement block and pushed it against my forehead. That was weird. That was weird and unexplained. And when I left the room, it kind of dissipated. But I never had that kind of thing happen to me before. So that was really weird. I don't know if that was paranormal or not, but it happened. And I remember it. And then we were outside. Because, of course, I borrowed my sister's camera and was taking pictures because I was like, I want to get a ghost. I want to get a ghost. Oh, my gosh. And I'm standing outside the front going through the pictures. And all of a sudden, I feel on this arm, I feel like something grabs me like that. Like, tight enough that I jumped. It was like, oh my gosh, something grabbed me. And then, in my excitement, I'm like, oh my gosh, something grabbed me. So I'm like, but of course the flash was on, and I'm like, look at that, it's white. And I took a picture of it, it was like, so yeah. I don't know if there was actually a hen there or not, but I felt it. And then we went to, I don't remember what the name of the cemetery is, but there's a cemetery right down the street. And the cemetery had originally extended out way farther, but when they put the street in, they had to push it back. And they kind of did a poltergeist where they didn't move the graves. Did they move the graves? I don't remember if they moved the graves or not. No, I don't think they did. I think they moved the headstones, but they didn't move the bodies. And in the street and along the sidewalk, they put little gold discs. Hi. They put little gold discs over where the bodies are. It's just really creepy because, you know, those people who are driving on that street are driving over dead bodies. But anyway, so the ladies who were giving us the tour were like, oh yes, people come in here all the time and they take pictures and find orbs and they show us and we're like, oh, congratulations, you caught a ghost. Oh. But yeah, that cemetery is literally dirt. There's no grass, there's no flowers, it's dirt. And it was nighttime and there's trees. You know, trees create pollen and stuff. And you're taking pictures in the dead of night with your flash on. You got the dust of hundreds of people walking through the cemetery. You got whatever's coming off the trees and you're taking pictures. Of course you're gonna get orbs. Not to mention all the bugs because you're outside. So that's also another thing with paranormal. If you're investigating and you get orbs, I'm sorry, but orbs are stupid. Orbs don't mean anything. Orbs is just light reflected off of something tiny, typically a bug or some sort of dust particle or pollen. Doesn't mean a ghost. Sorry, doesn't mean a ghost. But anyway, so we did that and then we went up to this park. It's not really a park. They call it a park, but it's not a park. And at the time when we went, they were all still, I think, some of them were private houses. But they were starting to, like, kick everyone out because the city, like, bought the houses. And at this point in time, now, it should be, like, a bed and breakfast park where each house is a bed and breakfast. But anyway, these houses were taken from different parts of the country and shipped over to this park. Like, they literally moved the house to these parks. These houses to this park. And a lot of these houses were all, like, weird and haunted and stuff. And there were actually some pretty cool houses and pretty cool stories. I won't go into each one because, it's pointless. But the first house that they have is like some sort of weird green house. And I remember walking up to it. And this is one of the few instances where I can say, like, I feel like I have some sort of psychic ability, but I won't claim it because I'm not that weird. But we came up to this house, and I saw it, and I was like, ooh, no, that's an evil house. Nope. I don't generally go up to houses and say that houses are evil, but that house, nope, that house is evil. And the tour guide started telling us about the house. Apparently, at one time, it had been a church. And then, it was a Jewish temple, I think. I don't remember. It was some sort of temple. And they ended up leaving it, and it was taken over by a group of Satanists. And they used to do all sorts of really horrible things in that building. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, that's definitely an evil house. Anyway, so yeah, and then we did that. Oh, and then we also went to the Maritime Museum, which was also featured on another episode of Ghost Hunters when they did the, I don't remember what the names of the ships are now. But it's the Maritime Museum in San Diego, and it's like down the street from the airport. And I got to go there, and we got to check out the ships, but nothing that cool or exciting happened. But it was really fun to be there. It was super fun. But yeah. So those are the haunted places that I visited. But another personal experience that I did have as a child, and this was a recurring event that had happened to me. At our old house, I don't know if this is actually paranormal or not. My parents tell me it's not. I'm inclined to believe them, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it anyway. But at night, I always wake up in the middle of the night, and I used to hear voices coming from the living room. And this would happen to me, like, all the time. Wake up and hear voices in the living room, and I say, oh, my mom and dad are up and they're watching TV. I can go sit with them. And then, of course, I'd get out of my room and go into the living room, and the living room's completely empty, and no one's there, and the TV's not on, and it's quiet. But as soon as I go back to my room, I hear the voices again. And it always sounded like a man and woman talking to each other. And my parents would say, oh, you're probably just hearing something from the neighbors or something, but you're not hearing ghosts. But I don't know. I'm like almost every single night and always consistently a man and a woman speaking. It could be the neighbors. I don't know. But why would it always get quiet when I got to the living room and then back when I got to my room? I mean, the living room wall and my room was right next to each other. So there wasn't that much distance difference. I don't know. And the camera is like trying to focus. But anyway. And then another weird thing that happened to me. I don't know if this is paranormal because the same thing happened to me yesterday. But I had this, actually I still have it somewhere, but I have a black scarf that my sister bought me, and I lost it. And one day I was in the middle of cleaning my room, and I was working with stuff on my bed, and then I left my room for maybe like 30 seconds, came back, and the black scarf was on the end of my bed. And I was like, that wasn't there before. Pretty sure that wasn't there before. And then yesterday, I had the exact same thing happen to me. I don't know if it's because I'm blind. This is probably not paranormal, more because I'm blind. But I was looking for this pair of scissors. They're always on my desk because I like to clean my nails out with them because I'm a weirdo. But anyway, so I'm looking for these because I found like a hangnail and I want to cut it off. So I'm like, where are my scissors? Where are my scissors? I'm looking all over for my scissors and I can't find them. And then at one point, I turn away. And then I'm like leaning over my desk, I feel something stab me. And there these are, sitting in front of my keyboard, right in front of me. What? How does this keep happening? I don't know. Maybe I'm blind, maybe it's paranormal. I don't know. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I've rambled you to death. I'm pretty sure I've rumbled you to death. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go because that's about all I can say on the matter of ghosts and stuff. I need my discussion bowl. Alright, so week after next, discussion bowl topic. I don't have very many topics in here. I'm going to have to restock. Alright. And I feel confident with this one. My favorite films. This is also going to be a recurring one because I have a lot of favorite films. So what I'll probably do is pick 2 or 3 to discuss and then save it again for another time. So, next discussion bowl is going to be discussing my top favorite films, of which there are a lot. So anyway, stop it! Sorry, I keep hitting my... Alright, so, this has been HB, aka Aurora Guinevere Price, and I will see you all later. I'll be talking about are more older, like, my idea of horror is, and I'm saying my idea because film and the creative world itself is all completely subjective. So my